So, a quick note about this episode. All of a sudden, my microphone started picking up static, and I have no idea why. Hopefully, I can figure it out by the next episode so it's not an issue. But for this episode, I've looked all over the place and I can't figure out what's causing this. So, if you hear any static during this episode, I'm sorry about that. Anyways, on to the review. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 29 of the Journey's anime titled One Crackling Fit of Jealousy, Yamper's Fantasy, just dropped, and in this episode, we get the backstory behind Yamper and Chloe. How did they meet? Well, let's find out. Surprisingly, this was a really fun episode, and also one that was really well animated and directed for being such a low-key episode. I originally wasn't looking forward to this episode, but honestly, color me surprised because this episode turned out much better than I thought. At the start of the episode, we see a Pidove flying through the forest in this really nice animated bit, and the episode starts when later we see Yamper drag that poor Pidove up the stairs to the Cerise household like a cat dragging a dead mouse. Luckily though, this Pidove isn't dead, and instead, it's just fainted. Not only that, but when it tries to fly away after seeing Yamper, its wings seem to be hurt. So, Chloe's mother decides that they should keep it until it recovers. However, Yamper isn't allowed to come inside, setting the story up for the rest of the episode. Meanwhile, in another minor plot that honestly is just there just to find a way to put in Ash and Go in this episode, we see Ryolu and Pikachu training, and slowly but surely, we're starting to see his Ryolu get really powerful. In this fantastically animated sequence, we see that it now has enough power to block Pikachu's Iron Tail with Force Palm. But forget about that because Sable has gone missing. Come on, Go, you just got this Pokemon. How could you lose it already? I kid though. It's only really there to show Sable being acclimated with our hero's other Pokemon. Right now, it's crying, causing everyone else to cry, but when that encounter ends with Ash's Dragonite gently hugging it in order for it to calm down, we know that it's gonna be alright. It is really sweet and does wonder for Ash's Dragonite, who's shown to be just the best anytime it's on screen. And even though this was a minor plot beat, both the training stuff and the stuff with Sable was pretty fun. Anyways, back on the main plot, after feeding it and running around after seeing Yamper again, Pidove manages to get behind and on top of Yamper, causing it great distress. It tries to use Spark to get it off its back, but Pidove just flies into the air. And for Yamper, things get more upsetting when everyone, including Chloe, calls the Padove's behavior cute. It seems to get more jealous and tired of it chilling on its back as they go for a walk, and at nighttime when it's trying to sleep. Honestly though, if I was Yamper, I would be annoyed if a pesky bird got on my back and didn't get off either. It would be really bothersome. And in the morning, Yamper completely prevents Chloe from going anywhere near the Pidove because of this jealousy. But luckily for Yamper, it won't have to deal with this Pidove for too long, as Professor Cerise will later set up a page for it so its trainer can find it. By the way, this is also when Cerise tells the rest of the family the obvious. The fact that Yamper is jealous because it feels like all the attention is going towards Pidove. Basically, Yamper feels like all the attention is going towards the Pidove as it's the younger brother to Yamper's older brother role at this point. When Chloe returns from school and Pidove gets on Chloe's shoulder, the Yamper doesn't stop barking until it gets off her shoulders. So much so that it causes Ash and Go to come out because they think something might be happening. But really, it's only there to serve one purpose. Well, two actually. One is for us the audience to see that she's gotten to the point where she's cool with Pokemon sitting on her shoulders. Remember in episode 20 when she wasn't cool with Pidgey doing the same? But here, it's alright. And the second part is here to set up us, the audience, learning about the history between her and Yamper. The basic idea is that, similar to Yamper now, she didn't like Yamper when it first came into the family. She was younger, and just like Yamper now, she felt like her parents were focusing too much on Yamper instead of her. One day, she told it to go away, and it did, but later when it woke up at night and overheard her parents saying that Yamper hadn't returned home, this caused her to feel extremely guilty and go out and look for it. But, while doing so, she came across some Venonat coming towards her, scaring her. And when that happened, Yamper came to her defense, barking until the three Pokemon ran away. That's what caused them to be friends. It shows that Yamper in this situation, or in any, is a really loyal and protector type Pokemon. Even at the beginning of this episode, it brought the Pidove to the house because it was hurt, and even after Chloe yelled at it, it still came to the aid of Chloe. That becomes more true later because right after hearing about the story, we hear Yamper barking outside and it turns out it's fighting a Furo. This Furo, as we find out, is what caused the Pidove to crash into the Cerise household. And similar to Chloe's story of Yamper coming to its rescue, a similar thing happens here where Yamper makes sure Pidove is safe. Seeing this situation unfold, Cerise tells his daughter that because of their connection, her and Yamper can do this, which leads to her having Yamper use Spark and send the Furo away. My only issue here is that, haven't we already done this? Not the jealousy aspect, that's new, but when Cerise tells Chloe to fight with Yamper, they act like it's this giant moment. White light glowing behind Chloe and Yamper as they fight together. They even give it Ash's theme, but we've already seen this, haven't we? Episode 11? Remember? I guess it's here now to build up that there's more connection now, but really, it feels pretty unnecessary in my opinion. At least how dramatically it's done. Anyways, eventually the Padov'S trainer does show up and we find out that this Pidove is a racing Pidove and a leader to other racing Padov'S. There's also some morality about liking yourself no matter how you look, since similar to Chloe, this trainer has frizzy hair, something that Chloe doesn't like about herself. Oh yeah, this moral. I skipped over this entire beat because honestly, it feels super shoehorned in. It shows up at the beginning of the episode and then this one last time at the end of the episode and that's it. It's just there just to show that Chloe needs to be more confident in herself, but it feels a bit too forced for my liking. The episode ends with a goodbye to the Pidove and a conversation between mother and daughter where they say how cool their father is. But just like before, this scene I think is more to give us this backstory on Cerise. See, up to now, we haven't really known why Cerise is considered this great professor. He just shows up in the story, but here, we find out that he wrote a whole book about how humans and Pokemon can live together, and it's implied that the book is pretty famous. So unlike Oak, who seems to be more about Pokemon information in general, or other professors who deal with things that happen in their own regions, Cerise seems more like a professor about Pokemon behavior. At least that's how I took it. And I don't even think the story originally knew what Cerise was famous for, since in the second episode, Go tells him about the scales of Lugia, which in hindsight is so strange. But seeing how the story has evolved now, especially Go's story, it makes sense for him to be expertised in this subject. Overall though, like I said in the beginning, this is a fairly fun episode. It's visually awesome as both the animation and the direction of the episode makes this a really enjoyable watch, and the story is pretty self-contained, allowing the story to feel like it has a really good beginning, middle, and end. Not only that, but it's nice to get a break from Ash and Go's story every now and then, which helps their episodes have more meaning too. The lessons in this episode do feel a bit contrived, but that's alright since the story is written in a way to not make it the sole focus of the episode. Instead, we get a nice look into the mindsets of Yamper and the backstory of Chloe. And I think because of that, this episode feels like a great bit of world building rather than your typical fluff or filler. I really enjoyed that aspect, and if you haven't already, I do recommend checking it out because I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. The next episode is, well, I'll save my thoughts until the next episode airs, but let's just say the premise confuses me. I am looking forward to the fact that it's going to be a Pokemon focused episode though. If you watch me for any length of time, then you know that I enjoyed these type of episodes quite a bit, and it's probably why I enjoyed this one too, since Yamper's pretty heavily focused on this one. So, I am looking forward to next episode. But anyways, that's it for my review of episode 29 of the Journeys anime. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe in the comments, let me know what you thought of this episode. You can follow me on Twitter, @PdGaming, and that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.